too much. No, I didn't want to make you blue. It's just something I gotta do. And boy, if it all came through, it's too much. Gotta go, honey. Catch me on the late show. It's too much.
And that was a little bit more of Bo Walton. I know you guys were asking. So everybody's out there two-stepping and singing along with the music. So again, go to BoWaltonMusic.com. Bo, welcome back. So
welcome,
now,
thank you.
Yeah, now everybody is just kind of grooving into your music here. Someone says she's got to wiggle her butt. So you got people wiggling out there. You got two-stepping out there. So
chair dancing.
What's that, Belle?
Chair dancing.
Yeah, we're all chair dancing here.
I like it. You can, however you want to do it, you just do it. Just
however it works. So how long did it take you to put this CD together?
The first album, Waiting on a Dream, took probably about a year and a half to get all the songs together and produced the way we wanted them to, and remastered. These songs go back. There's a guy that played guitar on all of those songs, a guy called Mickey G, who was one of the best rock and roll. In fact, I'm gonna put my neck on the line and say that he's the greatest British rock and roll guitarist of all time. Mm-hmm. He died a few years ago, and it was tough because it's hard when you're releasing your songs and the guitarist on all those songs is no longer alive. It's hard to convince the people that are listening to them that they're current. Yeah. But we decided we had to. When you've got songs that sound that strong and guitar solos that sound that great, you can't not release them just because, it's a terrible thing to say, but just because the guy is no longer with us. There are a lot of Mickey G fans out there. In fact, there are a darn sight more Mickey G fans out there than there are Bo Walton songs. And I think, when Mickey played such fantastic solos on those songs, they had to be heard. And there are people out there that will buy the record because it's got Mickey G on it, So
right.
It was a tough decision to have to make, and do we go back to the drawing board and do we re-record them now that Mickey's no longer alive? And you kind of think, no, we need to persevere with this, put them out there. And so that whole process in itself took a little while to sort of get our heads around. But we're glad we stuck with it, and it's been a really good album for us. It's helped to spread the word, and it's also given Mickey G's fans something new to listen to as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you're actually getting popularity here in the U.S. too.
Well, that's good to know. Yeah, there's people. We get a lot of interest. I know that there are a lot of stations over there that are playing the music, both the country style and the rock and roll style, and that's always good to know. I mean, as I said at the head of this interview, at the start of this interview, it's nice just to write the music. I'm not out to make a great deal of money. I'm not doing this for anything other than the love of making music. And part of doing what I do is to get people's feedback and to know that people are enjoying it. So, you get people that turn their car stereo on in the morning and play me all over the world. I'm more than happy. That's what I do it for. I do it to, when somebody drops me an email or pings me a Facebook message and says to me, I was listening to your music in the car this morning on my way to work, and they live in New Zealand, then to me that's the biggest blast you could ask for,
Yeah, absolutely. Are you already, now I know we haven't launched this one yet, but are you already making plans for a third CD?
Do you know what? Yeah, I kind of am, and this is the mad thing about it. Lonely Weekend isn't even released yet, and I'm already excited about the third single and the second single and the album as a whole. And I think that's something that happens. It becomes a little bit sort of all-consuming. The second single, I can't wait to get out there. It's a doo-wop ballad, which is very much in keeping with the sort of music that I grew up listening to and I love still today. But that I've got to sort of rein it in a little bit. There's me getting excited about that, and we've not even officially released this one yet. So you're kind of always looking ahead a little bit. But yeah, there's talk at the moment of putting out a demo CD. So like a lot of the songs that we've already recorded and released, just putting out the demo versions, possibly on EPs. So lots of little things that I'm sort of kicking around at the moment, and there's new material being written all the time. A new song that I wrote with John David, which is planned for the third single from his second album. So, yeah, my brain at the moment is sort of in overdrive, which is, even at this time in the morning, so I'm still thinking about the next thing and the next thing.
Yeah. Now, do you plan on doing any touring? I know you're not touring at the moment, but are you going to do some touring with the new album coming out?
Yeah, I certainly do. It's one of those things that didn't really kick into gear last year. The band last year didn't really gel the way I wanted it to, and it's it's strange. I've been in bands for so many years doing cover versions of other people's songs, and it's. I think what happens is when you do your own music live, you're looking for the nuances that you don't necessarily pick up on when you're doing somebody else's material. So I can tell if the bass player is not doing something like the way I wanted it done, or the guitarist isn't really feeling something the way that I had it envisaged when I wrote the song. So it's weird. It's tough on musicians to and I'm not a diva in any way or a divo in any sort of any shape or form, but you need it to be just so. So last year didn't really cook with the band, and the band that we've put together now is really, really the business. And yeah, certainly there are live dates already in the diary, and I'm working on some festival ideas at the moment. In fact, a couple of hours ago, I got a text from a local festival organizer who runs a show not a million miles from where I live, and it's a well-attended festival every year, and he's very, very keen to get us on the bill. So lots of interest coming in, which is really, really exciting. I just can't wait to get out there and share it live. That's the way this music needs to be heard, and it's the way that it will be heard this year.
I think so. And the way you present your music, I mean, the music that we even hear it, I can't imagine what a live concert or a live event would be with you. I mean, talk about rocking.
That's the thing, and I think for me, it's the music that I grew up on, as we've said so many times tonight. It's a very personal music to me, and it's something that I just love. I mean, you go back to the 50s when sort of Presley used to talk about it, and everybody was saying it's an influence on juvenile delinquency, and it's just people letting off steam. And I think that's what rock and roll is. It's about just getting up on stage and just having a ball, and that's what the band is all about. I mean, I've got a great guitarist that loves to run around the stage and jump all over the place. I've got a drummer that doing the same. He's like Animal from the Muppets. It's just that's what I want. I want a buzz from the people on the stage as much as I do from the crowd.
Yeah. If somebody were, how do I want to phrase this? If you were to surprise somebody, what is it about Bo Walton that would surprise people?
Ooh, curveball. Are we talking musically?
Whatever comes up.
Ooh, okay. I don't know. Is it a surprise that I was offered England trials for rugby when I was about 18? I guess possibly it might be a surprise. But I didn't go with the rugby, and the fact that I was offered the part of young Elvis in the West End when I was sort of 19, 20. The fact that I was possibly signed to Simon Cowell when I was 21 years of age. I don't know. There's so many little things.
See, I didn't know those things. That's pretty cool.
There's three, but they're things that you kind of just gloss over, because I mean I'm very much sort of in the now, and that's how I like to be, in the now and the looking forward. But yeah, it's nice. The thing about this is when you put yourself out there and people start digging. There's lots to be found. All good, There's I don't think there are any skeletons hidden that I don't want being uncovered. But you never know. If you
never know. It depends on whose skeleton it is.
Absolutely. and
But
how
see,
good you are at digging.
Yeah, exactly. But see, that's what I think is so cool about you, is that you remain humble. That the music is just what you do.
Yeah. Well, I think there are so many egos in this business that the business itself just lends itself to the egotist, and I think you have to be, as I said earlier on, you have to be true to yourself. And I'm from very humble background, and all I ever wanted to do was make music, and that's what I'm doing. And I lost my mother a couple of years ago, and she never got to see the first release that I ever put out, which is something that. I kind of regret, but that's just the way of the world. But I make a point of checking myself from time to time and thinking, what would your mum think? Behave yourself. I think you have to remember your background, your upbringing. I think you have to realize that you're not the superstar that you sometimes think you are. You're just a normal person, and I think the world needs to see that there are enough egotists out there. We don't need it. We don't need any more adding to the pile, do we?
That's true. And I've seen so much of that, so much of it. There's actually another question from one of our listeners. Who is your favorite artist that you have played with or opened for?
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
Played with, I think, I have to say the fact that we had Mickey G. I mean, It's great that Mark Knopfler played on 2 of the songs, one on the album, one on the single. That, I think, is a very cool thing. But, you know, the new guitarist I've got in the band, it was a big Mickey G fan. As I said, Mickey played on all the songs, played the great solo on that single's Too Much that you just heard.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when I was younger, when I was working with him at the, you know, however long ago it was, you don't kind of appreciate how good the guy was. And then you look back and you think, do you know what? Mark Knopfler, brilliant, fantastic. But Mickey G, to have had him playing all those great solos and all those songs, to me, I think that's probably the best thing. You know, when I look back, and especially now the guy's no longer with us, you know, I've got that on tape forever, you know, or on CD forever. And that, to me, I think that's the pinnacle.
Yeah. If there's someone on the flip side of that, using a radio term, is there somebody that you would like to play with or open for?
Yeah, I've said it before, I say it again.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to share a stage with Bruce Springsteen would be a very, very cool thing, you know, to take my... I mean, that's obviously stadium rock, and it's a long way down the line for me. I'm still talking pub rock at the moment, but at the same time, it's not a million miles away. What Bruce does, although his band is big, it's just pub rock on a larger scale. So it'd be great to stand up there and, you know, and rock out with those guys, you know, the E Street Band, and that'd be very, very cool.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. I love it. Another question. What is the most challenging song for you to write?
I think probably go back to the first song, which was Hey Mr. Knight. That's and the reason that was so challenging to write was the fact that I hadn't ever written a song before, and I'd been working with John, recording some of John's songs, John David, who produced and co-wrote the album with me. I told him that I'd written some songs. He said, well, bring some over to the studio and we'll work on them. And it was a lie. I'd never written any songs. So it was literally, well, bring some over next week and we'll go through them. And the only thing that I could come up with was Hey Mr. Knight. And I had to come up with it quick. So it was a challenge because I'd set myself a challenge. I'd sort of told him that I had some stuff in the bag to play to him, and I didn't. So, you know, was like lastminute.com, and I'm just sort of scribbling everything down that I could. So, but yeah, I got there in the end, and we took it over to him, and he was happy with what he heard. But I heard somebody interviewed on the radio recently, and they said, you know, that if a song takes any more than 15 minutes to write, put it down as a bad job and start again. And I to me, that's crazy. You know, I think, you know, if it's a labor of love, then you keep working at it until you get it right.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we're going to go and play another track from his CD, and this is the one we're going to play is I Am the One You Need. Don't go away. We'll be right back. You're listening to Bo Walton on the Hazy Radio Network.
If this letter finds you lonely, baby, don't you cry. Bring your broken heart to me, girl. Forget that other guy. I would give you all my love. You wouldn't have to plead. Just give me half a chance, I'll show you I'm the one you need. I never needed